Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we're gonna be repotting and I'm very excited. I love a good repot. These are by far my favorite videos to film, but alas, I run out of plants to repot. Shocking, right? Because I used to be so far behind. It seemed like it was just a constant cycle of repotting, but no, I'm caught up. And then I figured since I'm getting these plants freshly potted up, I could show you my plant fertilizing, plant feeding routine. For plants I've freshly potted up, I'll show you what my little routine is for that to keep it super low maintenance and easy breezy, beautiful cover girl. So I don't have to worry about it day in and day out. In the beginning of my plant keeping, for some reason, plant nutrition was at the forefront of my mind in a very, very stressed way. I don't know why, for some reason it kind of stressed me out to have to remember to feed them and like what fertilizer do I use? What do they need? All of those sorts of things. So yeah, I've come a long way and now I know it doesn't have to be stressful. And my routine is very, very low maintenance. Even though I'm not stressed out by plant nutrition anymore, it is definitely super, super important when it comes to keeping healthy, happy houseplants that grow the way we want them to grow. Just like, this is a horrible segue, and just like nutrition is important for plants, pet nutrition is of the utmost importance, even more than plants. If you visited my planty home in the past, you know I have a dog, a Cocker Spaniel named Bismarck, and I love the guy, okay? He's a really good guy. He's there for me when I need him. The least I can do is provide him with quality, fresh, real food, and that's where the farmer's dog comes in. Eating processed junk for every meal of every day isn't good for us, and same for our dogs. Meals from the farmer's dog arrive at your door in ready-to-serve packs, pre-portioned for each dog's individual caloric needs. This makes it easy for your dog to achieve and maintain a healthy weight, which can be a big difference maker to their health and longevity. Their recipes are developed by board-certified nutritionists, so they're complete and balanced, and they're made from real, fresh, healthy food that's gently cooked in human-grade kitchens to preserve nutritional value. My dog Bismarck is a very picky boy, so I'm very happy to report that the farmer's dog is Bismarck approved. He eats it all, licks the bowl clean. Very unlike him. Since switching from kibble to fresh food, I have noticed a huge difference in Bismarck's overall demeanor. He seems more energetic and his coat is a lot shinier. And at the end of the day, it makes me feel good to know that as Bismarck ages, I'm providing him top quality nutrition to keep him living an overall healthier lifestyle. So if you'd like to try the farmer's dog for yourself, or your dog, and get 50% off of your first box of fresh, healthy dog food, use my link down in the description box and the pinned comment. You can also scan this QR code thingy on screen to get that 50% off discount. You'll also get free shipping. Definitely check that out. It is a great offer, so why not give it a shot? All the information will be down below, and huge thank you once again to the farmer's dog. Now let's get back into the repot. I'm going to be repotting a whole bunch of sanseveria. You may remember like 6 months back, I got these in the mail and I've just been having them sit in this vessel of water. So the thing is about these, I was trying to get them to root and they did root at one point, but where they're sanseveria, I don't like water to be sitting on the foliage at all or be touching the foliage at all. So I kept the water level really, really low in here and I forgot to refill it for a very long time. So all the roots that I had been putting effort into growing in here died. They dried up. It's okay, it's fine. I'm just gonna go ahead and get them potted because this way I'll stay more on top of watering them. It's just the way it is. I think I'm gonna start with the biggest one here. I gotta say, off the top of my head, I don't know the IDs of these, but I'm going to do this one first. It is the biggest one of the bunch. And I for sure already know I wanna put it in this shallow little planter. It's actually not a planter at all. It's a candle. It's for like a candle, but it makes a perfect little planter. And I already know, yeah, so cute, so cute. So I want this to be potted in here. For me, sanseveria are the most exciting plants to repot, or I love potting sanseveria and like small little succulents like this. They're my favorite plants to pair with a planter. I think where they grow upright, the planter you put them in just has a lot more impact than a plant that like hangs down and kind of hides the planter. Like any of these hanging plants surrounding me right now, philodendron, pothos, Hoya, all of those kind of tend to hang and block the planter. So that's why these ones are really fun for me to pot. I love picking planters for them. I guess some things I keep in mind when I'm picking a planter for each of these plants is, number one, I don't want a planter that's going to take away from the plant itself, but I do like them to have like an interesting characteristic about them, the planter itself, I mean. The interesting characteristic in this case is that it's really shallow and a little bit wider, and I think that looks really cool. And I think it looks really cool with this very shapely sanseveria. So that's why I picked this one. I do think that for me, like the hardest thing about picking a planter is color. We'll get into it, I guess, with some of these other sanseveria that are more colorful, but it is really hard to pick a planter for me, for a plant that has a lot of color variation going on, because colors like tend to clash a lot. I don't know. I do like colored planters, don't get me wrong. Picking a solid color, more like monotone, boring colored planter is a lot easier for me. My thing is, I have a really hard time committing to a planter because I don't want to have to be repotting everything a million times, and if I pot something into a planter and the planter ends up distracting from the plant itself, I'm like, okay, I need to get this repotted. I need to take this out, put it into something new, and then it feels like all the progress I've made on the plant is for nothing because the plant has to like start fresh, and a character flaw of mine for sure. I am using my go-to mix for this, which is very, very chunky, very, very airy, and it makes it really hard to overwater a plant. I haven't overwatered, oh wait, did I? I actually think I did overwater a plant, but for some reason I can't remember what it was. Anyway, it makes it really hard to overwater a plant. Like you have to be extremely talented at overwatering to overwater in this mix I use. So I've talked about it in quite a few of my past videos. If you're looking for something that you don't have to worry so much about overwatering, then this is it. I'm telling you, this is the mix. Okay, that's my like number one plant tip if you're an overwaterer. Stop. No. Pot it into something chunky with big air pockets so that the root systems can still breathe, and there's a lot of air pockets in the soil. It's really, really hard to overwater. Like that is my number one tip. You guys aren't beginners. We've been here for like 6 years now. I don't know why I keep sharing kind of beginner tips like that. Are those tips helpful? Are they condescending because you already know? I don't know. That looks really good. I am very pleased with this. Oh, I freaking love sanseveria. Something else I love about potting sanseveria is it's a lot easier to buy smaller planters, whether it be like thrifting. I always find really cool small vessels, but not a whole lot of big vessels. It's easier to buy handmade pottery for smaller plants, and succulents, sanseveria, those kinds of plants are, you know, usually in smaller sizes. I'm gonna do this one next. Gosh, you guys, I think I'm gonna do this one actually. Right? That's cute. For a while there, in my hoarding days, when I was buying a lot more of the expensive, highly sought after, like eye-catching, eye-grabbing plants that would get clicks on my YouTube video thumbnails, I didn't really like succulents then because, you know, succulents, I feel like people think succulents are a little bit boring, which I think they are in a way. They are in a way. They oftentimes grow so slowly. I've definitely found a deep appreciation for them, and they are a staple in my collection. Like, I would say maybe even half of the plants I have in my house, in my regular household living environment, not counting my grow tent, my roommate plants, are succulents. like smaller little succulents like this because I love them. I love them. They are so fun. They're so cool. And where they grow more slowly, it's like extra rewarding. A year from now, when I look back at these plants, I can be like, wow, that has grown. That has made so much progress in the last year, you know? And then I can feel like a really good plant keeper. Even though maybe I'm not, it makes me feel that way. And don't get me wrong, I also love a forgiving plant, which they are. Of course, that's like their number one benefit. So back to what I was talking about earlier where color, like this is a very colorful sanseveria. There's a lot of color variation going on in each of these leaves. I like it with this planter because the planter's a little bit like minimal and really lets the plant foliage shine like on its own. I mean, it looks good together, I feel like, but it doesn't detract from the plant itself. I hate when a planter detracts from the plant. Like if I had put it in something like yellow like this, you know, it's just a little bit clashy because there's so much going on in the leaves. If it's a more boring plant, I usually can use a planter that's a little bit more busy or like has more color going on or texture or a little more interesting shape. But if it's colorful like this, I want to keep it pretty basic. Although I do really, really like, don't get me wrong, I really, really love this planter. I think it's so nice. So nice because it's kind of like aged. I've got a thing for patina. That aged patina look takes a basic planter to the next level. Like this planter is so much cuter with the patina it has going on than it would be if it was just plain, in my opinion. Like it gives it a little bit more interest without detracting from the plant, like we were talking about. Plus, I think it looks good because this planter has a little bit of a rounded shape. And this sanseveria also has a little bit of a rounded shape, like in the leaves, they're kind of like twisted when they grow in. So it's kind of curved, kind of rounded. And I think that like goes, it makes them match. Curved leaves, curved planter, you know? But I mean, sometimes I like to use opposites when it comes to shapes of plants. I don't know, we'll see what I come up with on my next planter description, but I just broke one of the leaves. I'm so stupid. Oh, that was so dumb. Okay, I think that's going to be it for this one. I'm not trying to do any more damage. That was so dumb of me. While we're here, I would really appreciate, I want to do a video all about pairing a plant with a planter. It's something I've been putting a lot more effort into lately, and I think it has made a really big difference in the overall look of my collection. I would love to hear what your best like potting tips and tricks are, or like what methods, what do you take into consideration when you're repotting a plant? Outside of the like obvious things like pot size, you know, that's important. And then also like material, planter material. Those are the two obvious ones I feel like. What are some other little tips for pairings? I'll definitely be keeping watch over the comments here, maybe screen grabbing some for my plant pot pairing video because I do want to do that, and I'll definitely throw in some of your tips and tricks also. Anyway, let's move on. I do want to pot one into this planter. Actually, you know, I think I'm going to do this yellow one next because as I'm eyeing my plants over here, I know for sure I want this one to go in it. This is a variegated variety, but the variegation is so minimal that I don't think it's too much of a contrast with this planter. I love the shape of this with this square planter. I think that looks really cool. It has really thin, long leaves that there's just something about that I like. I don't know, I'll shut up, okay? Like, it just looks good together in my opinion. That's all I can say. Why do I keep going on about it? Half the time I don't even know what I'm saying, okay? I don't know if what I'm saying like makes sense or not. I went to school for English teaching and could have fooled ya because my English isn't great. Oh, I do think this is a really good combination though. Like it's definitely more of a shape thing for this one than a color thing. I love the shapes of these together. Okay, so outside of plants, I guess like we could catch up a little bit. It's been a while since it's been since like April. No, it was March when I did my last repot and chat and kind of filled you in on what's going on in my life. It has been a crazy summer. In some ways, it's been like one of the best summers of my life, but in some ways, it's been one of the most difficult summers of my life. I've been going through something really tough that I feel like a lot of people would be able to relate to, but I feel kind of scared to talk about it. I don't know. I feel really scared to talk about it. As much as I want to like let people in and like get it out of my system a little bit, vent maybe a little bit. It's like really, really hard for me to because I don't think I'm ready. The more I think about it, I'm not ready. As I'm thinking about telling you right now, like I'm definitely not ready to talk about it. And I want to make sure I'm healed from it before I speak on it. Because I'm not trying to go backwards in progress. I don't know. It's just been a weird thing. I guess what I feel comfortable saying is I am no longer on speaking terms with my sister. It's something that genuinely every single day of my life, it crosses my mind and it kind of gets in the way of some things in my life and especially in my family situation. It's just been a weird thing to cope with. I haven't really been uploading much on YouTube, especially content where I just like sit down and chat and tell you about my life and we catch up and I say whatever pops into my head. Those kinds of videos are few and far between, vlogs and stuff, because this has been at the forefront of my mind and it's like really hard not to talk about it because it's kind of all I think about this summer. But yeah, I don't know. It's been a really weird summer. I'm like learning to draw boundaries with people and like trust myself and also come to terms with the fact that I get to choose who is a part of my life and that at the end of the day, it's up to me, like in my decision on who I let into my life or keep in my life, depending on how they make me feel. It's okay to not allow people in my life that don't make me feel good. I think that that's what it comes down to. And it's been a real learning curve this summer. It's been really, really difficult, honestly. I feel like this is the most adult I have ever felt in my life this summer. On top of that whole situation, Ryan, I've mentioned it a few different times, but he got a new job. He was hired as an intern principal at a local high school, which is really exciting for him, but I'm happy for him. But for me, I'm a little bit like sad about it because I didn't realize that last summer was going to be my last like free summer with Ryan and my kids, you know, like all together as a family at home. Because he has been working this summer. So I don't know, I like definitely took last summer for granted a little bit. And I guess I feel a little bit of regret over last summer because my grandma had passed and I just was not in a place that I wanted to do anything. Like I barely left my house, okay? I maybe left my house 5 times total last summer because I felt so sad about my grandma. But this summer I feel really good and like healed from that whole situation. I wanna go out and do things every single day, but now Ryan's working. So I don't know, we just don't get as much family time as I had hoped for this summer, which is a little bit sad. It's a little bit hard for me to swallow the fact that I'm not gonna have summers like I have the last few years, the last 7, 8 years that Ryan's been a teacher. That's been kind of something I'm trying to grapple with, I guess. I don't know if you even want to hear about this stuff, but it's just what's on my mind. So I'm letting it out. Sorry. Here is this one. So cute, right? I'm not going to do it right now, but I may end up adding pebbles to the tops of these. I want to do my plant food like situation first. For now, I'm just going to set them back here. This one, I was thinking earlier, maybe potting one of these small guys. What do you think about that? Or do I want to do this one next? I don't like that. Well, do I? No. Dang, I really wanted to pot something in this, but I don't think anything is going to look good with it right now. So I guess I'm gonna do this one, which doesn't have a drainage hole. Same with that yellow one I just did and this white one, but with like I said, with this super air flowy potting mix, it's okay for them to not have drainage holes because the air pockets in the substrate. I do usually add a little bit of horticultural charcoal to the bottom, but I'm not actually going to be doing that today. And I feel totally fine with that. Enough about that. The best thing to come out of this summer is I freaking love running. I'm getting back into a fitness routine. I don't know if you could tell. No, I'm not really lifting weights so much, but I am getting really back into running. I love the head, spine, brain tickles I get when I run. I don't know if any of y'all run, any of you have had that feeling where your head just like goes like, your head just like zhuzhes and it goes like zhuzh, and then it goes down your spine when you're running. But sometimes that happens to me, and for all the miles I put in, it probably happens one every 50, 60 miles, but it's so freaking worth it for that one time. It feels so good. It's like ASMR, or it's like, I don't know, but it heals my brain. I'm telling you, it heals my brain, okay? And I love it. So it has made me, I'm actually gonna pull off this bottom leaf so it can sit a little more flush in the planter, because right now it's like sideways, you see, but if I pull off this leaf, then it can sit more like this. And I think it'll look overall better, and I can throw this into my sanseveria propagation bowl, try and propagate another one of these. Yeah, I've been running. I'm not running like a ton or anything. I'm doing like, I'm definitely between like 15 to 25 miles per week usually. I've had some weeks a little bit more, some weeks not too many weeks less, actually. I'm doing pretty good at staying around the 15 mark, but I did at the beginning of summer, it was May 18th actually, I ran my first half marathon, which was really, really exciting. I loved it. It was such a rush. I felt so good. Ended up finishing with a lot better of a time than I was like planning for, hoping for, like could have dreamed of, honestly. So I don't know, it just felt really good to kind of get back into my like competitive spirit a little bit that way. I've always been an athlete, and I think it's something, I'm sure that those of you that have played sports or competed in something your whole life can relate, but like I played soccer pretty much my whole life. So then when I didn't have soccer to do anymore, like to drive me anymore, or like as a goal in the back of my mind to work toward, I felt a little bit lost, and I kind of always have been trying to fill that void a little bit. And I think that this whole running thing does that for me in a healthy, maintainable, manageable way where I don't feel like too much pressure. But I'm able to like, I don't know, I guess squelch that feeling a little bit. So I'm very thankful for running. I've been really loving it. I've honestly considered doing a video talking about my first half marathon. I only started running a month before it, and I ran it in a little under one hour and 45 minutes, and I ran it a little under than 1 hour and 45 minutes, which I was aiming for under 2 hours. So like that was just surreal to me, like I said. So I thought about doing a video about how I feel like I was able to manage that progress in just a month. Like that's kind of crazy. But I don't know, let me know if I should do that on my second channel. But I do want to talk about it because it's a passion of mine just as much as plants. Running is a passion of mine again. So, oh, cute, look at that. What do we think? Right? Like I think this one's cute because the plant is like kind of the same size as the opening. So it like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Okay, next up, another one I know I'm gonna do right off the bat is this one in here. As I'm looking at that one, like I kind of want another one of that same vibe. And I think that, yeah, like it's a little tiny small planter with a little tiny small plant, but they're kind of the same size. I don't know, I just think it looks good. Yeah, and then I'll just backfill all around it. This is kind of an easy one to pot. What else is going on in my life lately? I'll be honest, like I have been considering a third baby. Is that weird to throw in here? I don't know if that's weird to just like say, but Rye is going to turn 3 in a couple of months, and they say that 2 to 4 years is like the ideal time to wait between kids for the woman's body to be able to handle the process and also recover a little more efficiently. So like I'm getting a little bit down to the wire, but it's kind of hard. I do feel like I want to have one more kid. It would definitely be our last bio kid, but I do feel a little bit of pressure for that. It is something I'm definitely like cognizant of, and our friends that have kids the same age as our kids just had their third baby, and I don't know, I do feel a little bit of pressure for that. So it is something I'm thinking of, but I just don't know if I'm like willing to give up as much progress like physically as I've made. You do have to sacrifice physically a little bit, you know, to get pregnant and grow a kid. Like I couldn't be running the way I'm running right now. And I have found a lot of joy in that. So I don't know, I just don't know. I don't know, but it is something I'm thinking of, and I don't know, it's just like such a hard decision. It's such a hard decision. I don't want to get like too deep or too weird or overshare with you, but also like I kind of don't care if I overshare a little bit. So sorry if you're uncomfortable, but it is something that I think about like a lot. Please, if any of you have kind of gone through the same thing, like something that I'm thinking about lately is if I didn't have a third biological kid, we definitely want to adopt at some point, but it just feels like, I just feel like I'm not done yet. You know, it doesn't feel, I don't want to say right, because it does feel right. Like I love my boys so much, but I do just feel like we're missing somebody a little bit. Like I think my loins are burning because they want to have a third. I'm 30 now, getting old. I need to start to protect all of this as much as I can. So it does just kind of feel like my last opportunity. And I feel like if I didn't go for it in the nearish future, like I might regret it. Oh my gosh, is this too much to be sharing on the internet? Yes, but hopefully you're here for the oversharing. Oh, I've been oversharing on my channel for a long, long time now, so I don't know what you expected. Okay, let's do the next one. I think here I'm going to put this guy. This one is definitely the most struggle sanseveria out of the bunch. I don't know why, but it hasn't grown any new roots. All the leaves are really tacoed and folded and flimsy, whereas the rest of them have kind of perked up a little bit and pushed out at least some new roots. This one has not at all though. So this is the one I'm the most worried about for sure. I hope that it does okay. I will show you where I'm going to place these guys, and I think that it'll hopefully help them perk up in the next couple months. Where I place them, like the lighting and the dryness in the air and my ability to really deeply water them where I'm going to put them. But, oh, I don't know. This one makes me nervous. I've got to be honest. I don't know why the rest of them have done okay, and then this one is just really, really struggling. When I insert some close-ups of this, you'll be able to see the leaves are completely closed up like that, which for a sanseveria, for these kinds of sanseveria, that means it's severely, severely dehydrated. So I don't know, I'm a little nervous, but I hope it will be able to bounce back because I love the look of this variety. I hope it does okay. The leaves are kind of like ruffled on this plant, which looks so cool when it's happy, but when it's sad, it looks very, very sad, like extra sad. More sad than normal. Ooh, here's hoping. I'm gonna give them a really thorough watering and also some, gosh, like you see that looks so sad, but I do think this will be a nice combination if this does end up bouncing back over the last couple of months, through the last couple of months for summer. And then, okay, I think, so here are the two options. Feel free if you think I make the wrong decision to tell me what one I should do instead, but I have this more upright, like the long skinny sanseveria. When I say sanseveria, the kind of sanseveria you think of, you know, the mother-in-law tongue. Those are the ones. I'm not actually a huge fan of this kind, but I could either put it in here. You know, I think I'm gonna put it in this one. What do we think? Let me know if I'm making the wrong decision. I very well could be. Very, very well could be. Okay. I do really like with this one here and this one here, oh no, my battery's gonna die. Hang on. We're back. Yeah, I do, the more I look at it, the more I like this combination, but I do kind of have a thing for like opposites. So like where this plant is like tall and skinny, I think it looks cool in this stout and wide planter. You know what I mean? I don't know. I mean, I think it could have looked good in the other one too, but there's just something about opposites attracting like that for me when it comes to plant pot pairings. Oh my gosh, yes. That looks good. Okay. I feel good about my decision. I do need to water all of these, but first, that's good. That's good. I do need to water all of these. But first, let me tell you a little bit about my plant nutrition like routine that I follow. Move them all on screen here. So there are two things that I use for my plant nutrition. Number one, Osmocote granules. These are smart release plant food. This is really what I feel like keeps my routine really low stress, low effort, because you only have to reapply these every 6 months. So where I do have a second step to my routine, like I don't even have to follow through on my second step super consistently to keep my plants happy. It is definitely a bonus. My next step is definitely a good thing to stick with, but I don't have to do it every single time. If I'm feeling a little lazy, I can skimp out on my next step and not feel bad about it, because these granules are good for 6 months, which is nice. I haven't experienced burning with these, but I do just apply like a little bit around the base of the plant. Yeah, so I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit along the tops of the substrate. I have been using these Osmocote granules for, I want to say 2 years now, and I do feel like I've seen some pretty good success using them. Like I said, I haven't had burning, and so where before I did buy like the smaller jug of Osmocote, if this is something you want to try out, I will link the smaller jug as well as this larger bag that's going to last me like so long. I'm not going to have to replace this for a long, long time, which is nice. Another thing to not have to think about, but I do recommend maybe trying the smaller jug before like committing to this larger bag, just to make sure that it's something that you like and you see improvement in your plants. I don't know, that feels good to you, you know? Like sometimes it doesn't make sense to just buy the big value size bag outright. Sprinkle a little bit on top of all my plants, and then I'll water it through really, really well, which we are going to do. So let me show you where these bad boys are gonna be living. Welcome to my back porch deck. Here I have a whole bunch, you know what, ignore this. Ignore these avocados, okay? We're struggling, but I'm trying. Anyway, I have a whole bunch of other little sanseverias out here, and they've been growing really well this summer out here. It's really easy to keep them watered, especially with the secondary water. They love it. That is, I guess, like a second method of nutrition that I provide for my plants, because secondary water is full of like fish poop and those kinds of nutrients that plants love. So I do water them with that during the warm months when it's available to me. I'm gonna move my newly potted succulents out here. Okay. Now I'm I'm gonna water it, and I'll water them all with the secondary water. So yeah, I'm gonna give them a really, really deep watering. Like I said, this is lake water, so it's got all sorts of good nutrients. No weird chemicals added that plants love. During the summer, I'll use the secondary water to water pretty much all my plants almost every single time. And that in conjunction with the Osmocote granules does really well for them. But during the winter, when secondary water is shut off, I do use liquider with, I would say, like 80%, maybe even 90% of my waterings when I have to use tap water. This is my new bottle I just purchased because my original bottle is almost gone. I'm so sad, but this thing lasted me like 3 years or something, and my plants have really loved it. So even with using the Osmocote granules, I think this just helps give plants like an extra little like oomph, a little extra nutrition to stay healthy and happy and growing really strongly during the winter months. It does well. It will not burn plants, so you don't have to worry about using too much on them. Osmocote, this, and secondary water are my tried and trues that work really well for feeding plants. They need to be fed. They need nutrients, especially if you're mixing your own potting mix like I do. If you buy pre-bagged mix, those come with some sort of nutrition in them, but if you're mixing your own stuff, you gotta add nutrients. So yeah, that's what I do. I'll have the Osmocote and liquider linked down below. If you're interested in trying it out, it'll be linked in the description box, so check down there. But yeah, I've been using it for a long time. Highly recommend. Okay. Those are all of the plants I needed to repot today. I love the way they turned out. I think they look so good, and they're gonna be really happy out there on the back deck. They're gonna get really amazing light, and I'll be able to water them very, very deeply and thoroughly with that lake water. And yeah, when it comes time to winter, I'll definitely move them inside. I'll show you the process for how I get them prepared to move back indoors and my methods for that. So I would love to hear what you think of all of my plant pairings, or again, please leave those tips in the comments about how like you choose, because it is hard. It is difficult to commit a plant to a planter because it could be there for a year. Thank you so much for stopping by and hanging out with me today. I hope you got something out of this. I really, really hope. I never know if I brought something of value to my viewers' lives, but I swear to you, I'm trying. So thumbs up or thumbs down so that I know one way or the other. That is going to be it from me today. I will see you next time. Bye.